On July 16, 1945, it was the day when the world witnessed the test of a weapon that would forever change the course of human history: the atomic bomb. This was the very first time such a devastating weapon had been unleashed upon the world. Capable of altering it forever, the mastermind behind this unprecedented creation was none other than J. Robert Oppenheimer, a man whose knowledge and expertise were unparalleled. Little did he know the immense terror his creation would bring. As Oppenheimer beheld the destruction caused by the atomic bomb with his own eyes, he uttered the haunting words,
"Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that, one way or another.
The sheer power and destruction of this weapon left even him in awe. Realizing the catastrophic consequences it could inflict, why and how did the invention of the atomic bomb bring Oppenheimer to the brink of destruction? The very person who led the USA to victory in World War II. Why did the US subject him to worldwide disgrace and humiliation? In his lifetime, Oppenheimer achieved numerous accomplishments, but history will forever remember him as the father of the atomic bomb. Born in 1904 at the young age of 18, he fulfilled his dream of becoming a chemist by attending Harvard. However, his aspirations were temporarily halted when he fell ill and couldn't attend classes for a year. Undeterred, he managed to complete a 4-year degree in just 3 years, a testament to his determination and intellect. At this time, the notion of creating the atomic bomb was far from his mind. However, the political landscape in Europe changed dramatically with Hitler's rise to power. Hitler tasked a few German scientists to create the most powerful weapon the world had ever seen. It was during his period that Albert Einstein, another German scientist, learned of these developments. Einstein, concerned about the implications of such a weapon, wrote a letter to the American president, urging them to embark on a similar endeavor, otherwise Hitler might gain control over the world. Upon reading Einstein's letter, the American president swiftly took action, ordering the initiation of a world-renowned Manhattan Project for the research on atomic bomb. Contrary to popular belief, the name Manhattan Project was not derived from its location in Manhattan, but rather because the program was initiated under the Manhattan Engineering District of the War Department. It is often speculated that the atomic bomb might have never been developed if Albert Einstein hadn't written that letter to the US president, while under obvious circumstances the US Army would have likely chosen Einstein to lead the Manhattan Project. Given that he was the one who prompted the president with this letter, history took a different course. Einstein's background was from Germany, and the US Army harbored suspicions that he might have ulterior motives in collaborating with the US. As a result, they chose Oppenheimer to lead the Manhattan Project. Oppenheimer and Einstein shared similar views, both believing that the US should pursue the development of atomic bomb due to their awareness of geopolitical situations and the potential danger posed by hostile forces, especially Nazi Germany. For this secret project, an entire city was constructed in New Mexico called Los Alamos. The US government allocated an enormous budget for the project starting in the 1940s and spent a staggering $2 billion on it. This project was one of the most critical and secretive endeavors in the history of the United States. Safeguarding this secret was an immensely challenging task for the US military. In Los Alamos, a total of 130,000 workers were involved in the Manhattan Project. These individuals underwent extensive background checks and scrutiny to ensure that information regarding the project remained highly classified and inaccessible to the outside world. The workforce at Los Alamos comprised scientists, technicians, researchers, support staff, and various other personnel. The selection process was rigorous, and only those deemed trustworthy and committed to maintaining secrecy were chosen to be part of this monumental undertaking. All personnel involved in Manhattan Project were given strict instructions not to disclose any information about the project, even to their families. To further enforce secrecy, each individual was assigned a pseudonym, and nobody knew the real names of each other. This strict rule was implemented to prevent any accidental leaks or breaches of confidentiality. The repercussions for any breach were severe, and the project was strictly adhered to rule that anyone found revealing someone's real identity would face severe consequences. During the Manhattan Project, all personnel were instructed to use fake addresses for correspondence. The designated address for receiving letters was P.O. Box 1663, New Mexico, and the city name was deliberately omitted in official communications. This extreme level of secrecy aimed to prevent any potential leaks about the project's location. To enforce censorship and maintain confidentiality, a dedicated censorship department meticulously reviewed all incoming and outgoing letters. Each letter underwent careful scrutiny before being forwarded. This rigorous process also applied to letters sent from Los Alamos to external recipients. Inside the project site, stringent security measures were enforced, and anyone entering or leaving required explicit authorization in the form of an entry pass or exit pass. The site's security was of utmost importance, and even the birth certificates of children born in Los Alamos did not mention the city's name but rather PO Box 1663. These extraordinary precautions were taken to ensure that even the tiniest piece of information related to atomic bomb would not leak out. Before the Manhattan Project, Oppenheimer had conducted research on nuclear fission, a powerful reaction that can release an enormous amount of energy by splitting atoms. In nature, the heaviest naturally occurring element is uranium, which has an atomic number of 92 and an atomic mass of approximately 238 when its 92 protons and 146 neutrons are combined. Through various experiments and research, scientists discovered that if uranium-238 undergoes a specific process, uranium-235 is produced. Uranium-235 is highly unstable, and when a neutron collides with it, it undergoes nuclear fission, splitting into two smaller nuclei and releasing a significant amount of energy. This process also emits additional neutrons, which can go on to collide with other uranium-235 nuclei, creating a chain reaction. The chain reaction happens extremely rapidly, occurring within just a few microseconds. During this process, an immense amount of energy is released, resulting in a powerful explosion when compared to a conventional TNT bomb. The energy released by a nuclear bomb is incomparably greater, like comparing an elephant to an ant. The destructive power of a nuclear bomb is many times greater than that of a TNT bomb. Approximately 1 kilogram of an atomic bomb releases energy equivalent to around 3,500 kilograms of a TNT. The little boy which completely devastated Nagasaki. If this level of destruction had to be achieved with TNT bombs, it would have required around 1.5 crore heavy TNT bombs, which is beyond the carrying capacity of any aircraft or vehicle in modern times. One of the major drawbacks of using uranium for atomic bombs was that uranium is a naturally occurring element and is limited in quantity. The availability of uranium is restricted to the amount that can be mined from the Earth's crust. To overcome this limitation, researchers in the Manhattan Project successfully created a new element called plutonium-239. Plutonium-239 is artificially produced by bombarding uranium with neutrons in nuclear reactor. This process of neutron capture converts uranium-238 into plutonium-239, which is even more unstable than uranium-235. The US was in a hurry to complete the Manhattan Project for several compelling reasons. Firstly, the world was engulfed in the turmoil of World War II, and amid this global conflict, there was a pressing concern that enemy nations, particularly Germany, might develop the atomic bomb before the US. The race to harness the power of nuclear fission for military purposes was of paramount importance, and time was of the essence. As the days tickled by, the weight of responsibility grew for the completion of the Manhattan Project. For the completion of the Manhattan Project meant one pivotal milestone, the testing of the world's first atomic bomb. The fateful day arrived on July 16, 1945, when the Trinity test detonated the bomb in New Mexico. The spectacle of its extraordinary power left the world awestruck and filled with apprehension. Oppenheimer and the other brilliant minds behind this scientific endeavor were not immune to the impact of their creation. Witnessing the devastation their work could unleash upon the world left them somber and deeply concerned about the consequences of this newfound power. The first weapon of its kind, the atomic bomb, had the potential to pose a great threat to human civilization, and its impact on humanity was yet unknown. However, without fully understanding its consequences, the US decided to use this weapon in the very next month and dropped it on Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In both of these attacks, more than 250,000 people lost their lives, and within 6 days, Japan surrendered, making the end of World War II. While it may seem that Oppenheimer's achievements would have led America to reward him with Nobel Prize, the reality was not that straightforward. The development and the use of atomic bomb were met with mixed reactions. While some celebrated the successful conclusion of the Manhattan Project and acknowledged the significance of Oppenheimer's contributions, others expressed moral and ethical concerns about the devastation caused by the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The immense ethical and moral burden of the atomic bomb weighed heavily on Oppenheimer, and his role in shaping the nuclear age left an indelible mark on his life. Despite his contributions and brilliance, he found himself under scrutiny, and the consequences of creation haunted him throughout his life. Had he desired, Oppenheimer could have used his expertise to shift the US capabilities to other domains swiftly. However, he chose not to pursue that path. As a result, he became a delicate asset for the United States. Various government agencies began to closely monitor Oppenheimer, their gaze fixed on his actions and connections. In 1949, the world was startled when the Soviet Union suddenly announced the detonation of an atomic bomb. It became evident to the US that the secret of atomic bomb had been leaked, but they were uncertain about the source of the leak. Suspicion fell upon Robert Oppenheimer as his girlfriend was a member of the Communist Party and his wife also had been associated with the party in the past. The Communist Party had close ties with the Soviet Union, which raised concerns within the United States. However, Oppenheimer himself had no interest in politics, his focus had always been on scientific research and physics. The US President issued an order to keep Oppenheimer and state secrets separated by a shroud of secrecy. An inquiry was initiated during which Oppenheimer was accused of being an agent to the Soviet Union. He vehemently denied any links to communism or Soviet Union, emphasizing that there were no evidence to support such claims. Despite Oppenheimer's protests and lack of concrete evidence against him, the verdict went against the once powerful scientist. In a matter of minutes, he was humiliated and stripped of his security clearance and all his rights associated with the project. Albert Einstein and the scientific community had spoken out against the injustice faced by the Oppenheimer, but their efforts seemed futile for many years. Oppenheimer chose to lead a quiet life away from government projects, maintaining his silence. It wasn't until 1961 when John F. Kennedy became the US president, a new ray of hope emerged for Oppenheimer. Kennedy offered to create a new free and fair tribunal that could potentially reinstate Oppenheimer's security clearance. However, this time, Oppenheimer declined the offer. Despite knowing his innocence, Oppenheimer decided not to pursue the reinstatement of his security clearance. In recognition of his contributions, President Kennedy awarded Oppenheimer with the highest scientific honor in the United States. However, this recognition came late as many years had already been passed since the initial ordeal. Unfortunately, Oppenheimer's health took a turn for the worse, and he was diagnosed with cancer. In 1966, he passed away, leaving behind a legacy of scientific brilliance and complex personal struggles. As per his wishes, his ashes were scattered on a beach in the US Virgin Islands, which is now known as Oppenheimer Beach in his memory.